Tonight, the country recorded 23 additional COVID-19 cases yesterday and 3 deaths, bringing the infection total to 49,735 and total deaths to 1,037. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is advising Jamaicans traveling overseas to observe strict safety protocols to prevent importation of the Delta and other variants of the coronavirus COVID-19. The business community of Montego Bay in St. James has responded positively to Prime Minister Andrew Holness's declaration of the Zone of Special Operations (ZOSO) in Norwood in the parish.
Crime is a monster that we need to curtail. The Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce and Industry welcomes the Zone of Special Operations anywhere this tool can be used to help curtail crime.
And Prime Minister Andrew Holness signs a Memorandum of Understanding for the National Program on Environmentally Sound Management of End-of-Life Pneumatic Tires earlier today.
We know in Jamaica that we have a propensity to burn tires for many different reasons. And when the tires are lit, whether they're at the landfill or elsewhere on the road, those resulting open fires are difficult to control and extinguish, and they have a negative impact not only on the environment through air, soil, and water, but it is a significant contributor to the respiratory illness and skin diseases that we see across our communities.
Good evening. The country recorded 23 additional COVID-19 cases yesterday and 3 deaths, bringing the infection total to 49,735 and total deaths to 1,037. According to reports from the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the new cases consist of 15 females and 8 males within the ages of 11 years old and 87 years old. These cases were recorded in St. Catherine, Westmoreland, and St. James with 6 each, Kingston and St. Andrew 4, and St. Elizabeth 1. The deaths include a 52-year-old female from St. Elizabeth, an 89-year-old female from Kingston and St. Andrew, and a 55-year-old female from Westmoreland. Jamaica had 142 recoveries, bringing that total to 28,935, resulting in 19,396 active cases. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is advising Jamaicans traveling overseas to observe strict safety protocols to prevent the importation of Delta and other variants of the coronavirus COVID-19. Some COVID-19 variants allow the virus to spread more easily or make it resistant to treatments or vaccines. Most commonly reported symptoms of the Delta variant of COVID-19, first identified in India, include a headache, sore throat, and runny nose. Chief Medical Officer, CMO Dr. Jacqueline Bisesa-McKenzie, who was addressing the ministry's virtual COVID-19 Conversations press conference recently, said preliminary reports coming out of the United Kingdom indicate that this variant has been found to be 40% more transmissible. Expressing concern about the highly contagious and virulent nature of the Delta and other COVID-19 variants, the CMO said maintenance of quarantine measures for persons who come into the country are even more important to prevent the importation of these variants. Dr. Bisesa-McKenzie encouraged Jamaicans traveling abroad to continue to practice established COVID-19 safety protocols even when they enter those jurisdictions that do not require maintenance of the precautions. She said the ministry continues to advocate adherence to established safety protocols to limit transmission of the COVID-19 virus. Operations resumed at the Montego Bay Tax Office in St. James earlier today after workers this morning protested over alleged poor working conditions. The tax office is currently offering limited service as Tax Administration Jamaica, TAJ, says it continues to seek to resolve the issues. Chiefly, the employees are upset that the property's air conditioning system has been malfunctioning for months, rendering the building uncomfortable for both workers and the public. They saw workers this morning declining to take up duties. The delay in the opening of the tax office left scores of persons disappointed and upset. And we will bring you more on this story in subsequent newscasts. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chan recently visited the Domestic Violence Intervention Center DVIC at the Matilda's Corner Police Station in St. Andrew. Here is Khalid May with more on this story.
National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chan, during his visit to the Domestic Violence Intervention Center at the Matilda's Corner Police Station, says the cases of domestic violence are emotionally riveting and traumatic, and to equip members of the police force to better assist the victims of domestic abuse, greater emphasis has to be placed on training and sensitization of the police in domestic abuse and intimate partner violence and related matters.
The fact is that violence is the root of criminality in Jamaica, and it starts at home, and therefore the police has to be prepared to deal with it. I also want to put the two things together because we have a national police force and they get their criticism from time to time, but I think the public need to understand we have to train the police force and equip them to deal with violence ranging from man and woman violence quarreling at home, because out of that can come a murder. And at the same time, you have men who are armed with machine pistols, prepared to shoot the police and shoot citizens. That's the reality, and our police officers have been trained to deal with both sectors effectively and well. While it may be said 80% of the criminal violence more related to the gunman, that 20% of domestic violence and family violence and interpersonal violence actually is the root of the wider violence, because if young people emerge from that situation, of course, end up being violent behaviors, whatever happens. Without trying to be defensive, among the challenges that emerge and the pathology of violence is such that you'll have this kind of activity emerging sometime when the police is doing better. The fact is, they alluded to it, many of the leaders of the criminal gangs are in jail. And what happens on the road is that you have a number of youngsters, often very young, who have been left with firearms that they have been encouraged to use for their own purposes, and they scatter around like, if you step into an ant's nest and you take out the queen or the bees, they run around and they sting everybody that they can find. And basically that happens with young gangsters who no longer have any gangster leadership. They end up shooting at each other all over. The police is aware, sensitive to it, and we are taking steps to ensure we can apprehend the many little ones running around while we have the leaders in jail.
He also used the occasion to implore the nation to assist the police with information that could help to bring perpetrators to justice.
Criminality and criminal violence will only get down to a level of sustainability when the community members are willing to give evidence, information to the police. But we understand some of the problem we have behind, especially criminal violence. But as we get more effective and efficient, I expect the community members to respond. Certainly in domestic violence, we need the information, and in criminal violence, as I said, as we can demonstrate to the public that we are capable of apprehending and taking the criminals perpetrators off the road, they come forward and give us the required evidence. In addition to the scientific evidence we'll build around through the Forensic Institute.
The minister was joined at this event by Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson, Permanent Secretary Courtney Williams, and several other Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF officers. While responding to the question as to how the police are responding to the sexual violence against children, Major General Anderson had this to say.
Been responding. We work with other agencies in that response, CPFSA, Children's Advocate, in doing a proper response to those. I think we've been pretty responsive. Anything that comes to our attention like that, we certainly, proceed after the perpetrators very, very aggressively. Sometimes these things are happening in communities and people know, but they don't necessarily come to crisis. We like to know early. so that we can respond early.
Major General Anderson also pointed out that the center of the Matilda's Corner police station, which is one of 4 now operational, brings into focus the ministry's commitment to tackle domestic and intra-family violence and to make it a matter of priority.
There are 3 in Area 5, 1 in Area 4. We have another 6 to be done by the end of year. We're working with the United Nations Development Program Spotlight Initiative on that. So it's really a joint venture. We are already in the process of refitting some other ones in a similar fashion to install there. But even when we finish this 6, I see us having 1 in each police division, at somewhere in a division, so that we can offer that service and that safe place across the country. Of course, a lot of the people who do the actual counseling are volunteers, but they have also to go. The volunteers have to go through a process of certification that they can operate out of these centers. And some of them, have pastoral backgrounds, some of them social work backgrounds. But there's a training that is done for anybody who's going to work there. We just trained 18 managers of these centers, so to get ahead of the rollout of them.
The other centers are located at the Yallis and Morant Bay police stations in St. Thomas and the Constant Spring police station in St. Andrew, and were established through a partnership with the United States Embassy. Reporting for Mello TV News, I'm Kayleen May.
Meanwhile, during and handing over of specialized equipment, motor vehicle and motorcycles to the Jamaica Constabulary Force recently, Dr. Chang says the strengthening of police mobility will continue as a critical part of crime-fighting measures.
It requires officers who are trained and equipped to combat the gangsters and at the same time are sensitized to assist and support the victims of domestic violence. It is with this reality in mind that the government is undertaking to modernize and equip the police force as a matter of priority. Critical components of this transformation are the acquisition of additional fit-for-purpose vehicles with effective communication and the establishment of the domestic violence prevention centers. Mobility is crucial to the effectiveness of the police force. This morning, we're handing over 47 pickups, and while not here, the police will have received 73 motorcycles. The motorcycles are a crucial part of the operational efficiency of the police force. I know it was dramatized somewhat when we had the incident on Trafalgar Road. But coming from Montego Bay, where the commissioner had, installed the first operational team, I know the effectiveness. Homicide rate downtown St. James in Montego Bay proper has dropped dramatically. We're still having killings around. I'm saying it has eliminated because no one activity, no one event, and no one component of the police transformation is going to stop the level of violence we have in Jamaica. It's not something we're proud of, but we have a very violent society by homicides at the level it is. And we have to prepare our force and the society to deal with it. But the motorbikes are a critical component. They allow for speedy response. They operate in the traffic congested urban centers effectively, and therefore get the police officers on site quickly.
A man who is believed to have killed his girlfriend in Roden Hall District, Clarendon, is suspected to have committed suicide in his cell in the parish on Monday. Dead is 20-year-old Markland Hales, a farmer of Mason River District, Clarendon. Reports from the Lionel Town Police are that at about mid-morning Monday, Hales was found hanging with a piece of cloth tied around his neck. He was assisted to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Hales was taken into custody on Sunday after 21-year-old Tashika McKay was found by a relative with her throat slashed. Hales was taken to the hospital and treated for injuries he sustained from stones that were being hurled by residents during his arrest. One officer was also treated. Hales was later taken to the Maypen Criminal Investigations Branch, where he reportedly confessed to the crime during a caution statement. He was taken to the Lionel Town Police Station, where he was placed in a quarantine cell by himself due to COVID-19 protocols. It is believed the killing stemmed from a domestic dispute. Investigations are ongoing. A curfew has been imposed in sections of Kingston Central. The curfew began at 7 p.m. yesterday and will remain in effect until 7 p.m. on Wednesday, June 23. The required boundaries are north along East Queen Street from the intersection with Hanover Street to the intersection with South Camp Road, east along South Camp Road from the intersection with East Queen Street to the intersection with Water Lane, south along Water Lane from the intersection with South Camp Road to the intersection with Hanover Street, west along Hanover Street from the intersection with Water Lane to the intersection with East Queen Street. During the hours of all the curfew, all persons within the boundaries of the curfew are required to remain within their premises unless otherwise authorized in writing by the ground commander. The business community of Montego Bay in St. James has responded positively to Prime Minister Andrew Holness's declaration of a zone of special operations, also in Norwood in the parish. And here is Javon Thomas with more on this story.
Vice President of the Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Oral Evans, says they welcome the declaration of the zones of special operations in Norwood, St. James.
Crime is a monster that we need to curtail. The Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce and Industry welcomes the zone of special operations anywhere this tool can be used to help curtail crime. Now, be it Norwood or any other community for that matter, we welcome that. And with Norwood having an increase of 55% in murder, then naturally we believe that this is a necessary tool, necessary move at this time, and we welcome Zozo in the area at this time. Well, one of the concerns we have as a Chamber of Commerce is that with such a crime-fighting measure like Zozo, there is always a question of how do we deal with such the criminals in a sustained and strong manner, while at the same time allowing the majority of the good, honest, law-abiding citizens to live in that space, to be able to move about freely, to work, to go to medical facilities, to go to the supermarket, to market in relative freedom. Now, we are just asking that this aspect is properly managed. It's properly managed so that we do not create a situation where honest, hardworking people of the area suffer. So Zozo, they have experience. This is not the first, second, or third. So we would have expect them to know how to manage the situation and allow people who need to move, freely move without being hampered in any way or prevented from going, getting medical treatment or going to work in particular.
Mr. Evans pointed out that crime is a deterrent to the survival of any business.
The activities of gangs, whether it be now or anywhere, the areas that you, wherever it is, it impacts not just the area, but you know, these gangs activities spread throughout Montego Bay and its environs. So as a Chamber of Commerce, we welcome measures that can help to curtail crime. We as a Chamber, of course, through our membership, through us, have approached the authorities and speak with the authorities on the matter of crime. We have done so many times. So we have the concerns are there. We see what is happening on the ground. So we, by representing our membership, we've spoken with the different members of the security forces. We have had meetings right here in this room with the leaders of the forces in the army and the police in Montego Bay, because we are concerned, our members are concerned, and in order for the business to survive and to strive, you know, we have to control crime, and no business can really properly operate under these situations. Crime is a deterrent to the survival of any business. So we represent our members by speaking to the authorities, by lobbying the authorities on how we can curtail this matter. And as I said before, we welcome this move because it's a measure to help that community and by extension the entire Montego Bay and the entire St. James.
He further outlined his expectations of what positive results will derive out of this zone of special operations in Norwood.
Speaking about after, but even during this operation, we're asking that Zozo in this area delivers what is promised to the citizenry of that community, the entire St. James, and as a matter of fact, the entire Jamaica. The social intervention aspect of Zozo that promises an improved living condition and quality of life for the people must not be taken lightly. The authorities working with and through various agencies must deliver those promises if the work that the security forces put in must be sustained. We don't want to start something and then we have problems. So the building of the promised strong and legitimate social structure, if not managed properly, will only set us back despite the successes in the crime fighting we're just going through So this is a long-term peace building and community development tool. And it means putting in infrastructure, the social intervention program must be in place, and as is known that you have people who they need things to do. So whatever aspect, whatever way the chamber can assist in assisting in providing services such as training for the young ones, assisting with getting jobs for them. Any way the chamber can assist through our businesses, we will assist, because we need to have, at the end of this, not say that Zozo was here, we had some quiet measures, but as soon as they are out, things go back to normal. No, we put the infrastructure in place that will sustain that type of living that we're looking for, where the crime rate is reduced or cut, and then where businesses are better able to survive on better conditions.
I'm Javon Thomas, reporting for Mello TV News.
Thanks, Javon. Meanwhile, residents of Norwood are pleading with the Jamaica Public Service Company, JPSCO, to restore power back to sections of the community that are affected by power outages. One returning resident said that he had to find accommodation elsewhere due to no electricity.
My name is Lloyd, and I'm a concerned citizen and affected citizen from the JPS. On June 12th to 13, we were affected by a power outage. It continues on to the 16th, 17th, and 18th, and on the 19th, it went out again until up to this present moment. We have not received any power back into our system, and our refrigerator is have a lot of spoilage, and we have to be walking around and borrowing and having our phone charges. And also we have to go and pay money at hotels for accommodation, and there is no compensation nor addressed by JPS. And I'm asking the hierarchy of the JPS to address our problem, because as a customer and a paying customer, we should be treated with respect. And right now we are at a gross inconvenience, and I'm saying they should send out the field officers to come and check the problem, because the problem is a recurrent problem and an ongoing one. So I'm talking today and I'm asking JPS to come into our vicinity and make sure they correct this problem so we can alleviate the pressure and inconvenience.
And one business operator and another resident of Norwood Gardens, Cecilia McKenzie, explained how this has been of great inconvenience to her and also costing her.
I'm living in Norwood Gardens, Paradise Norwood Gardens. From a month ago, we having this problem. The light been cutting off day and night. We have lost it for 2 weekends, and this weekends, from Friday night until this moment, we've been calling JPS and none of them responded. Everything in our fridge are deteriorated. We have no light, we have no supply for nothing. Nobody responding to our call, and we are tired of it. My medication, everything is spoiled up. Nobody responded. What do we do? And we are paying our bills. JPS said they put every customer first, and we've been calling them from Friday night until now. Who do we call now? We want Mr. Prime Minister to intervene, because this is going from bad to worse. Every one of them, they say they put customer first and they are collecting our bill. We cannot owe them, not even $1. And we're getting our bills in the middle of the month, which is not to be so. I think it's 30 days in 1 month, and we are not getting our supply. And this is ridiculous.
Meanwhile, one elderly resident, Carol Fletcher, in speaking with our news team, lamented how not having power is affecting her financially, despite not owing any bills to JPS.
All my things and my fridge spoil, and this is going on for some weeks, a few weeks now. When the light cut off at the weekends and we call, nobody not coming, nobody not paying us any mind, and we are in the dark. All my things in the fridge spoil. I have to take them out and throw them away. And I am a sick person, my medication and everything in there. And I have to throw away everything, nobody not coming. I need back my light, for I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable. I am hot. I need something in my fridge. Everything is out. I am not comfortable at all. I don't hold no money.
And we will bring you more on this story in subsequent newscasts. And those are some of the stories making news. We will return with other story with Prime Minister Andrew Holness signing a recent memorandum of understanding. But first, let's take a break and then join Christopher Scott with sports.